Hello, everybody, and welcome to the People's Poll, the Monday show where James and I discuss a topic that we've put out to the public vote. My name is Suj.
My name is James.
Which I just said, but this is Planet FPL, and this week's vote, James, was
Controversial.
needed the adjudication, needed a re-vote. But yeah, a little bit more controversial or political or whatever you want to call it, and there was no even mention of the Brexit word, so it wasn't even about that.
No.
But do you want to tell everyone what it was about?
Yeah, we put out 4 options as I do every Sunday afternoonish after the 4:30 game. We put out 4 ticket prices.
Yep.
Which I think actually is something we might cover off perhaps on a Tottenham in the international break, maybe, in terms of pricing and football.
Yep.
Might be something we can break up. And we can combine that with another choice I put up, TV scheduling. And the impact that has on fans.
Yep.
We put out for racism in football, which I thought, bearing in mind the campaign that's going on in the Premier League, the events in Bulgaria last week, I think you and I both thought would probably be a landslide winner. And
Haringey obviously borrowed this weekend as well as a real trigger.
To us, is literally down the road.
It's a local team.
So we thought that would win most likely. It hasn't. It tied with refereeing in football. Went to a re-vote, and refereeing in football came out. It was over 1,000 votes again.
On the re-vote, there was 1,000 votes?
No.
Oh,
I mean, the re-vote was only half hour, and there was like over 300 plus on that.
Yeah.
And refereeing won it. On racism in football, we know it's a difficult and taboo subject. One of the reasons I wanted to bring it up differently to what's probably being covered in the mainstream is to try and cover what solutions there are in terms of what points of action should teams, players, authorities take to eradicate this fucking sickness that we have in the game at the moment. We will do a special on it in the international break like we did with Bury Football Club. That's what we're going to do because it does need covering in detail and we're not going to hide away from speaking about it. But this morning, we're going to talk about refereeing in football. And I think specifically what's going on in the fucking Premier League at the moment.
Well, okay. Yeah, I mean, here's confusion. I suppose that now this game that our perspective quite often is FPL, but we love football as a game. I've always maintained that FPL is a guessing game, right?
So's refereeing.
Well, the thing is now we're playing a guessing game where we try and use stats and data. We need luck when we're picking our players, combined with a second piece of luck which we've needed now because of rotation with what the managers do in terms of their teams. Like you've seen what City did this weekend. Combined with a third piece of luck, which is refereeing and the nonsense that goes on with VAR. That I've got to the extent now where I'm not bothered anymore. Like very few decisions that I made in FPL in the first 9 weeks I'm unhappy with. There's 1 or 2 that I think, you know what? I haven't looked at the fixtures and the stats properly and I've maybe taken a bit of a gamble. But the amount of bad luck, and it's not just me, a lot of managers have had, you can only go with...
Are you blaming referees for your FPL performance?
I've just said it's like it could have been very different even yesterday. With what happened. So if that goal doesn't go in for Marcus Rashford, that's clean sheets for Trent and Robbo and Matip from your point of view. So it does have a big impact. So it's now like luck or layered on luck. And the refereeing element of it is the one that I thought might be resolved this season, and it hasn't been. Let's look at this weekend alone, right? I don't even know where to start. Let's start at Spurs. Penalty... Obviously a penalty.
Oh, and Delafeu, yeah, 100%.
Clear penalty, wrong decision. Slightly more 50-50 was Dele Alli's handball. Handball or no handball?
No, I think that was fine.
I thought it was a bit of arm. I thought it was his upper arm.
No, he come off the cock on his chest, didn't it?
I thought it was upper arm.
Left.
But I mean, if it was me as VAR, I would have given that. And that's no bias involved here because... I'm being fair, but I thought he armed it a little bit. But you know, it was a tough one. I'll give you granted. Everton, West Ham, Yerry Mina's goal. definitely a foul, but if it was given against West Ham, I would be very upset about it. That's all I'm saying. But 100%, that was 100% a foul. There's actually about 3 fouls.
What was the foul?
No, I'm joking. That was a clear goal. I don't know what it was called for. Yerry Mina's header was a goal.
It didn't even show it back on Match of the Day.
Yerry Mina's header was a goal.
What was wrong with it?
Exactly. I think they were saying Gomez blocked someone off in the build-up. But
well, you had to look hard for it. That's a perfect illustration of part of the problem. So if that's what that goal was called off for, it's not consistent, because think of the goal Everton conceded at Burnley when Tarkowski was doing all the blocking on the back post.
Yeah.
Which was far worse than, and I don't think anybody was calling for that, saying it should have been a foul, which was far worse than anything that was going on in the box there.
I don't know what it was not called for. Then let's go on to Burnley, Chris Wood's goal. Now, he clipped him, but the ball was almost basically in the back of the net at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like, did the defender have any chance of stopping that going in? And I understand, and it was an accidental clip. He didn't go to trip him on purpose. Like, at that point, why would he be trying to trip a player over? It doesn't make any sense. It should have been a goal. So that should have been a goal. Where should we go next? Liverpool, Manchester United. Now, this is a little bit more controversial.
There's a still image knocking about of Origi holding the wrong leg.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know what kind of giveaway that is.
Well,
I don't know if that's
he
true
took both legs in. I don't know. But
I can live with that one. It's a subjective call, isn't it?
Martin Atkinson saw it clearly. You can look at
I think it probably was a foul.
Okay. So, but then why didn't the ref call it?
Well, if the ref hasn't seen it.
But it was clear. Like it wasn't like his view was obstructed or he was 50 yards away. He was probably 10, 15 yards away.
Well, the contact happens on the other side of him.
Okay,
and I think
the player comes in from
Origi
behind.
Went down very easily.
Dramatically, let's say, is a good choice. And then a lot happened between that and the goal. And you're kind of looking at Rashford's movement, thinking if that doesn't get given, but he played that so well, finished it well. And then there's more in the league. So, like, where do we start with it? I can only attack this really from... Well, there's 2 aspects. One that we haven't even talked about, which I'd love for you to share with the listeners, is the VAR. Dele Alli's goal, albeit we talked about, but then the nonsense of the screens.
I'll come on to that.
All right.
So, I mean, the first thing I wanted to speak about was the fact that I've been very, very vocal in being anti-VAR, and I still am. When they announced the legislation kind of in the week to the kickoff, I was a little bit more relaxed about it in terms of this high bar. What they never explained was that the high bar is somewhere up in the fucking stratosphere and nobody can touch it. You're not going to tell me that in 89 games of football that have been played so far, that there's not one incident where a penalty's not been given and we should be giving one. I mean, that's ludicrous. I think David Silva at Bournemouth, Delafeo at the weekend. There's more. I think one of the massive issues at the moment is nobody wants to be undermining the on-field decision. Yeah,
they're talking about the referees union and everyone's backing each other.
It's not undermining anybody. So if you take the Delafeo example on Saturday, I sit quite high up on the side.
Yep.
And a fair distance, it's the other side from where the challenge was from myself. But I could see that the way Vertonghen was lunging in, that it was incredibly fucking reckless and any contact. Now, I couldn't physically see from my vantage point that there was 100% contact. But even my dad, who's the most biased football fan you will ever meet, he went, I don't know why he would go down there when he's got a free crossing position. I think it was a trip. It would have been a difficult one for the referee to call because originally Vertonghen slides away from Delafeo.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was clear and obvious for the referee to be able to see it. There's a camera angle that is behind the goal, literally as far away as me to this camera, with a perfect view of it, and they've used that in the VAR replays to make their decision.
But he tripped him up.
It's a penalty. It's all day. Yeah. It's all day long. It's a penalty.
Well, so the thing is that I tell you where I'm confused now is the usage of it, when it's allowed to be used and when it's not allowed to be used, and this high bar and all the rest of it. So for me, I would have thought, okay, you've got VAR, use it to get the right decision. But it's not as simple as that. It's like, okay, first it's got to be clear and obvious. Then you got to look at what was the on-field decision, and I don't know whether I don't know when are they using it correctly and when are they not, and what are they using it for, and what are they allowed to use it for, and what's the directive on when they should overrule and when they shouldn't overrule. Surely it should just be black and white. Use it, get the right decision, job done. Doesn't matter what the referee on the field has done.
We should recall it OAH, offside and handball, because that's all it does.
It hasn't really done any penalty kind of work yet. The other one that people were upset about was the fact that the refs are not going to the side touchline telly. Why is that?
Well, I don't know. One of the things they wanted to do... See, I don't mind that at all. But then what needs to happen is the directive from the guy in the truck or wherever...
Go and have a look.
Well, no. He could say, yeah, go and have a look because I'm not sure. I don't think that's happening. But he should be authoritative. I think the idea was that it was going to be authoritative information from above to say, that's a penalty, get on with it. Because nobody wanted all this. And I've been at games, Llorente up at the Etihad in the quarter-final. Go and have a look at the monitor for the handball. It's arguable if that was ever the right decision, even having gone and looked at the monitor.
Yep.
The idea behind that was obviously not to delay the game too much. And as soon as he goes and looks at a monitor, you are losing at least 1.5 to 2 minutes. There's no doubt about that, which is too long. Take the one last night in the United-Liverpool game, where there was a very late penalty shout for handball, I think against Fred, if I remember right. Mm-hmm. And at the time, it was like, we all saw one replay, and we all went, that's not a penalty, crack on.
Yeah.
A minute later, we're still waiting for a corner to get taken. So that is pissing me off as well. Because at the height of the game, like that last minute, the drama of waiting for that corner, now let's get on with it and play football, please. From a fan perspective, I'm hugely frustrated with it. I would absolutely sack it off straight away. I really don't care. I will have the wrong decisions against me. I've just sat here and gone, that was a penalty against my team with Delafeu at the weekend. I would scrap this shit straight away and go back to the way football was, because the bigger one for me is Ali's goal at the weekend. So he scores, I don't celebrate. And the reason I don't celebrate is A, he slipped over and I thought he'd fucking missed.
Yeah.
B, the referee is on the scene immediately and he is like that, basically in Dele Alli's face within like 2-3 seconds of the goal. So there's a roar in the crowd and then there's nothing, silence.
Yep.
And we're all waiting. And I have no idea why. I'm following the track of the ball. And I'm obviously in a state of fucking manic depression nearly at this point as well, right?
That's another podcast.
Yeah, we'll do that later.
That's on Tuesdays.
And there's a Watford player pushing his hands out as if to say there's a push. So, because obviously Feminina I didn't see that at the time. Yeah. Feminina and Foster collided, so I thought it was being looked at for if Ali or Kane had pushed someone in the moments leading up to that collision between the two Watford players. Handball wasn't even on my radar, mate. Again, that was it's my side in the ground.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was handball. So that's awful. The goal gets given after about a good minute or so. Everybody lines up to retake. Watford are ready to start the game. And then it comes up on the screen, no goal.
Yeah.
So Ali starts screaming, and even the referee's like, I don't know now. Let me get fingers in the ear again. And you're going, no way. At that point, I was quite confident because the referee had already made the decision. And I thought if he'd made the wrong decision, presumably in that then next minute leading up to go and kick off again, somebody would have said, mate, you've made the wrong fucking call here.
Yeah, of course.
But then you wonder if they've found another angle or something.
That was the last. That was the 85th minute, right? 86th minute, something like that. And it's similar to the goal against us at Palace in the 89th minute or 88th minute, whenever you want to call it. That it's so annoying in that last 5-6 minutes for it to be just dragged on like that, especially when you've played meh. And you're like, let's get this game done with and move on with our lives, and it gets dragged on like that. It's really frustrating. Do you think the standard of refereeing has gone down? Because I feel like one of the problems now is that refs are reluctant to make a decision because they're scared. Well, they're not scared, but they're like, you know what, VAR will take it over. But then VAR doesn't take it over. So refs are not making the decisions anymore. So if we move away from it, then perhaps they'll get back to making those decisions. However, the directive is let play go on rather than call the decision when you see it. So they'll let play go on, which is a classic example of the Origi foul. People assumed he's let play go on and then they'll go and check it. But you still got to play to the whistle. So Liverpool can't really say that that they thought the VAR. You can't say, oh, VAR come and sort this out for us. You've got to play to the whistle. But then refs are not making the decisions that they were.
No, I think the standard is slipping. I've always been quite a support of refereeing in this country. I think
me as well. I think it's a hard,
it
thankless
probably
job,
doesn't help that, and this is I think a very English British view, that we consider that our game is run differently to other European leagues, etc. In terms of we'll have a little bit more leeway for the blood and thunder tackle, etc. I think those days are probably a little bit gone. I think Martin Atkinson let a lot go in that game yesterday that probably a foreign official wouldn't, for example. I don't think we have a problem like that, particularly in a fixture like that. I think we're going back to tolerance level here where that's okay. But I think, the standard of officiating is suffering through essentially responsibility, ownership of game management, because it's no longer the man in the middle of the pitch that's actually necessarily having the final say on the crucial decisions that happen in a football match. And I think that just allows for a moment of doubt where you make a decision and go, it's a penalty, whereas now it's like, I'm not sure. And there's also the doubt now in terms of, if I give it and there's any kind of slight shit contact, take Mane against Leicester as an example, that it's not going to get overturned.
No.
And I think most of us wouldn't have probably given that as a penalty for Liverpool in that game against Leicester.
I know there was contact.
But at the same time, none of us could turn around and say that should be overturned either, because there was contact.
Yeah.
So I think there's a massive hesitation in terms of making a decision. One of the big frustrations for me is I think linesmen and lineswomen, if we include Sean Massey, do an incredible job. Like, they get over 98% of general decisions absolutely spot on. Mm-hmm. They're now in that clarity of doubt as well. And I don't think we've even managed this. I've seen a few calls where, generally speaking, they've been right, and an offside decision has been given, and it's been so fractional. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you need to let that go, really. Because
you're undermining them, and then...
Well, no, it's not a case of that.
Putting that seed of doubt in.
I thought the intention was to let the play go on, and then pull it back if there was an offside. I would absolutely, me personally, rather they continue as they are and try and make the best accurate calls, because I know they're bloody incredible at it, generally. And I think that's hampering as well. So it's having a knock-on effect in terms of the standard of our refereeing as well. I think even to the extent of like red card decisions, there's not been too many glaring ones that have been missed. I'm thinking sort of Tielemans against Callum Wilson.
Yeah, there's only been a few this season, a couple maybe at most.
But I think in that particular case, for example, I think the referee just missed it. Like he genuinely didn't, because it wasn't even a free kick given, I don't think. So he must have missed it. But there are some that have been borderline, and I think that they're not even dishing out the red either. Like, it's just causing hesitation. And from my perspective as a fan, that's the biggest problem. I can't be in a position where my team's scoring an 87th minute equaliser and I can't celebrate. Like, what the fuck is it? Not that I particularly should be celebrating an 87th minute equaliser against Watford, but you know what I mean.
I don't know if there's to put a different perspective on it, maybe a slightly positive spin. I feel like there's been less dissent towards referees from players, because players are just like, check it on the TV. So that, like, even yesterday when Henderson was trying to give him grief about the foul, it wasn't as bad as I've seen it in previous years, where they're like, okay, you've got VAR, so there's nothing we can do about it because VAR is going to check it. So I don't see the players going as mental at the refs as they used to in the past.
But everyone's going, check it.
Yeah, which is different, but then they don't have much of an argument against it because you're like, okay, obviously you've seen it on TV. We haven't seen it on TV. Go with the benefit of the doubt.
There was an instance with Danny Rose in the first half.
Okay.
We went down very easily. It wasn't a penalty. It was a correct decision.
Yeah.
You can see as the referee's walking away, Harry Winks is in his ear. Are you checking it? Are you checking it? And obviously the referee's going, yeah, of course it will get checked. Like, so
that's what VAR is for.
Maybe what we need to do now, because the biggest gripe for me is a goal's happening and the last person I should be looking at on the field is a referee, and it's not the first person I'm looking for. So perhaps what we should do in terms of if we can try and celebrate goals again is to look for players' reactions. Like, if no one appeals, is that then okay? But then
they will appeal.
You'd
always appeal.
Take Jesus against Spurs in game week 2. Like, nobody appealed that, did they?
No, because they thought it was a goal. And actually were laughing in the bloody press conference afterwards about how it wasn't a goal. It's ridiculous. I think the look at rugby at the weekend. Obviously, well done to England. I'm looking forward to the game against New Zealand on Saturday. Going to be a big day of... I've told my missus
disappointment.
I don't know. We've got maybe because we've got Sheffield United at 3 p.m. So I'm thinking we'll start on the booze at 9 with the rugby.
Oh God!
And then make it an all-dayer. I don't know about that. We'll see. They play to the whistle and then they check it afterwards. Very different game, very different laws, very different everything. I understand. I think just put all of it back with the referees and say play to the whistle, and we'll check it afterwards, but don't say that like let the play run on and let VAR come in and intervene. Or maybe that's what I'm saying.
Isn't that contradictory a little bit?
Well, I don't know is the answer. I suppose I'm not with you when you say go back to the old ways. So I'm not with you on that because I think technology always comes in and makes things better. So
is this making it better? So
no, but it's not. It's not in its optimum form.
What I see a lot of the times on my timeline is people watching football in other leagues, and they say that it's being used correctly. Now, I'm going to be honest and say I've not watched a lot of foreign football this season.
Sure. So what are they doing differently then?
Well, I think it's more they'll take whatever it takes to get to the right decision. I think.
Give me an example, or you don't have one.
Well, not specifically, no. But I think if we take incidents from, we all watched the World Cup, right?
Yeah, we did.
Or the Women's World Cup in the summer, where they'll take whatever it takes for them to get to the right decision. Then I think we put in subjective ideas to make sure that wouldn't happen here, not to not get to the right decision.
I suppose we wanted to leave some power with the referee,
not to have that delay. And I think, but I mean, I don't believe that referees are enjoying themselves at the moment. Please tell me the last time you saw a referee smile.
Well,
I'm not saying no, but there are certain games at certain times where a referee should be allowed to have fucking human characteristics and be enjoying what he's doing in the same way Suj and I will sit here and have a laugh and enjoy what we're doing.
True.
There are times where, if a team's losing 4-0, etc., it's not the time to be having a laugh. But, a big game is 1-1, for example, and it's being refereed properly, etc. Yeah, I think a referee's entitled to enjoy what he's doing at that moment. I can't remember seeing a referee smile this season. I don't know, maybe our referees have just got no personality. They're turning into robots as well. Mm-hmm. Robots are making incorrect decisions.
Yep. Something does need to change. I do agree with you on that, where the referees seem to have more control and more power and are less reliant on VAR. But what it is, I don't know how it could be played out. I suppose it's an interesting one for the listeners to tweet at us or give a verdict on how you think that VAR is being used in the Italian league and German league and what have you, and why it's better there than here.
I don't know if it even can be changed now.
Not mid-season. I don't know. I think it can. I think people want to see a change, and the FA will come across as progressive thinking if they do accept that actually we do need to make a change.
Well, I think this weekend gone off the bat of an international break was the right time to
review it.
Nothing's happened, has it?
No.
So
it's just been even more highlighted. I think this is probably one of the worst weekends for this.
The fact is, like, we shouldn't even... We're doing a pod on this. People want to hear a pod on this.
And I don't feel like we're giving any particular answers, solutions. Or
No,
value.
it's just going round in circles. And I'm pissed off with the fact that we are talking about it. I'm not pissed off with that's what people want to hear. I'm pissed off that every single weekend it's become about this now. The fan emotion in the game. Half the time you come out the ground and all you're talking about is what your experience was from fucking VAR.
Yeah,
Personally,
it has overtaken a little bit.
I'm sick of it. So the best referees are the ones you don't even notice.
Correct.
Games go...
with VAR, it's impossible for that to happen in a game.
Yeah, but referees can go without notice and still make big decisions that are correct.
Yeah.
The best referees are the ones who just let the game flow.
Correct.
Let it crack on as much as possible. And we're doing everything we can to... I think the Premier League, in fairness, have done everything they can to try and keep the flow of football better. It's not working.
No.
What I have to accept as a fan is VAR is not going away. Mm-hmm. I think... I find it upsetting because they just can't celebrate football goals anymore.
I would say there's only been a handful of decisions at the London Stadium this season in the 4 games that I've been to. So I don't think it feels like it's even that often. It's just once or twice in every single game. But the once or twice is disproportionately outweighing everything else that happens in a football match at the moment. So if we went back to the old ways, I don't think we'd be any worse off, put it that way. I think we'd be in pretty much a very similar position.
I think we'd be enjoying ourselves a lot more.
Yeah, there would be that kind of... If they announced that VAR is done, then I think there would be a collective sigh of relief from a lot of people. At least we know where we stand. But I don't think it's the right solution.
It's not going to now because the main governing bodies are going to keep it now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like your FIFAs, your UEFAs, etc. So we've got to accept it. I think when you tell stories, when you end up reminiscing about football, when you're with your mates, you're in the pub, etc. The one thing you always talk about is, I remember that time we went fucking mental, like at Swansea away and stuff like that, when you got the last minute winner. It might be shit stories to others, but mean a lot to you. It's those, the greatest gift of football is celebrating a goal. A player will tell you the greatest gift is scoring a goal, etc. Yep. And that's the biggest one for me that I can't accept that's being taken away. And and it kind of does even relate back to the other things that we've mentioned in terms of the poll. So the effect in future in terms of ticket prices, because the game's being built now for the armchair fan.
Yeah.
As is TV scheduling.
Yeah. I think you said it, right? Why should someone at home get a better experience than someone in the stadium? It shouldn't be the way that someone at home gets a better experience than someone actually who's bought a ticket. No,
I accept there's certain things that, like, take the Laporte handball against Spurs in game week 2. Like, all right, no one can see that. I kind of accept that the rule was brought in. If it hits it, that's the rule. That's the problem. That's not a VAR issue. VAR is doing its job there. No, I can't accept that I spend the money I do and the people at home are having a better view of the game than me. That's not how it should be, because what you'll end up with is people not going anymore.
No.
And people will always go because the demand is so great, particularly, say, in London. But I think in other places, like, that might begin to become a problem.
Yeah, don't doubt that.
Take Anfield and Old Trafford as 2 examples who haven't got screens at the moment.
They haven't got screens, right?
So I don't know. I mean, the screen thing's bollocks anyway, in fairness, because you never actually see the decision. You don't see the replays. You see VAR check. The only thing you know is goal. When it comes up on the screen, it says VAR checking goal. You know it's just got serious.
Yeah.
You also know the decision's not going to change.
Yeah.
unless it's a question mark over offside or handball.
Yeah.
That's it. Otherwise, you're probably pretty safe to crack on with your life at the moment, because they're not going to change decisions.
There we go. That's our 30-minute morning rant over, done, dealt with for today.
I hate it.
There we go. Guys, thanks for listening in to the People's Poll this morning. This is probably might be known as the week of the rant, because we've just had a refereeing rant. Tottenham is coming at you tomorrow. We have the main podcast tonight being Monday, where James is sitting pretty on 36 points with green arrows. I'm on 27 with 2 to play tonight. So that's going to be brutal.
You'll beat me, mate.
Yeah. Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Well,
I've been saying it since the fixtures come out that Sheffield United win 1-0, haven't I? So there's your Lundstrom
goal,
yeah.
maybe. So we've got that for you this week as well. Sky FF will be the one ray of light this week because I'm sitting on 57 points. You're on 54, which is decent for this week.
Yeah, the Sky Pod's going to be interesting this week. So I'm going to get you to look at some stuff.
Okay.
I'm actually going to do some deep diving into the immediate next 2-week fixtures and ideas of diving off
on and off.
Back on Leicester.
Let's do it. And then we have Clash of the Correspondents on Thursday. This week we have Southampton and Manchester United.
Jesus Christ. I worry about you. FPL Gaffer from Southampton and FPL Foxy.
Oh, is it
Foxy FPL
Foxy? I
from
thought maybe I looked at the wrong week then. That's why I thought we were recording at a different time this week. Maybe I've just looked at completely the wrong week.
I think that's what's happened.
Is it Manchester United next week, Gary?
Yeah, it is,
okay, I've looked at the wrong
Following
week.
week's Bournemouth and Man United.
What's the date today?
21st or something.
Right, Southampton, Leicester this week. And then Friday, the final plan before we go into...
Which I think might be including multiple hits for myself.
I'm tempted with one at the moment. But I don't want to make my transfers before the Champions League games. Everyone jumping back on Kevin De Bruyne. Like, he breaks his leg tomorrow or Wednesday, whenever they're playing.
God, imagine.
That would be... Well, his price wouldn't go down, I guarantee you that. Kevin De Bruyne could have just like fucking one leg and one arm and his price would stick at the moment. So do stay tuned for all of that stuff coming at you. Other than that, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your week. Ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child.
The Fantasy Football Show.